Welcome to Codex History of Video Games. I'm Mike Coletta,
And I am Tyler Osby.
and today we're doing a mailbag episode. I believe it's our 14th mailbag, and are we behind on emails, Tyler? Wow.
Boy, are we. We need some kind of mailbag like soundbite, you know?
Oh, you
It's
have a
just like,
soundboard, so we could totally make that work
I
at
know,
some point.
but I haven't
Just,
crafted
just the
any.
sound of mail being flipped over. I don't know.
Yeah.
An envelope
It could be,
opening.
it should be an amalgamation of like quotes from Cliff on Cheers and like the Blues Clues mail theme. And
Hmm
we can workshop this. We can come up with
And the
something, I
"You've
think.
Got Mail" thing from
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie.
Yep.
Is the movie called "You've Got Mail"?
It is. Yeah. A whole movie based around it's just one giant
An
AOL ad.
AOL site. Yeah, it really was. It really was.
Wow. The 90s were a wild time.
They really were the Wild West of the internet at that time. Well, do you want to start us off with this email from Joel in Texas?
Yeah, I will start this email. This one's from Joel in Texas. The subject is Paradox Mega Campaigns. Joel says, "Howdy, Joel from the heavenly, glorious, borderline utopian." Oh wait, no, never mind. Still from Texas. Lol. I'll try to keep it short, but this sort of thing takes some explaining, so please bear with me. In the Paradox Interactive, developers of games such as Hearts of Iron 4, Crusader Kings 3, City Skylines, John Romero's Empire of Sin, and soon Life by You. Look it up. It's their Sims game community. So this is the Paradox Interactive community. There is a popular way to play their games called a mega campaign. The basic summation is that you take one save game and convert it to the other games to play out a whole history. The ideal and common
What?
way to play a mega campaign is to start in Crusader Kings 3 and then convert in this order to Europa Universalis 4, Universalis 2, 4, Victoria 2. Victoria 3 exists now, but its converter is not yet ready, and frankly, neither is the game. And finally, Hearts of Iron 4, basically playing from the medieval era all the way to the World War II era. These mega campaigns are quite fun in how you can have the story of your nation span 1,000 years worth of stories, fun anecdotes, and frustrating developments. I am currently doing my own mega campaign, Spanish Empire, and while it is rough, each individual game is hours worth of playtime, so imagine all four together. I am enjoying it, except for Crusader Kings 3 Iberian struggle mechanics, but that's its own email for a different day. I can't wait to get to the next game. If you are more curious about mega campaigns, I recommend watching one of iSorrow Productions' mega campaigns, as they are very entertaining and show the wacky hijinks that can result from 1,000 in-game years of gameplay. Warning to anyone who want to check him out, his humor and language tends to be on the more mature side. And then he links to one of his favorite videos. Have a gamer day? Joel, Emperor of Spain, boss of the 3rd Street Saints, 15th most interesting guy in Texas. Yes. What do y'all think about the new Sonic Frontiers game? I have not played it, but I've heard it is one of the best Sonic games to date, and even proof that Sonic Team is capable of making great stuff when Sega allows them to, which is a fun subject of discussion, I am sure. Whew, that is
Ooh.
a large email. What's your take, Mike?
I haven't played Sonic Frontiers, but I would. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I've become Game Pass has ruined me. This is it. This is what it is. I now only really play games on Game Pass. I don't buy games new because I'm
Yeah,
like, I'm already paying $15 a month, so I'm not playing these games unless they're on Game Pass. So if Sonic Frontier shows up on Game Pass, I'll probably play it. But for now, I'm just playing things, for quote unquote free to me.
yeah.
Feels free. It's not free, but it feels free.
I do spend a lot of time on Game Pass. I've not gone mostly exclusive Game Pass though. I still buy other stuff, but um, yeah, Game Pass is really really great. I also haven't played Sonic Frontiers, so I don't have a take on Sonic Frontiers. Again, it sounds cool. People seem to like it. People were very skeptical when they first announced it, so I'm glad that it turned out okay. But what I am interested in doing is one of these mega campaigns. I've never played any of these games before, these Paradox games.
I haven't either. I think it'd be so funny for both of us to go in blind and just play the mega campaign and see
Oh
how it
man.
goes. Because I
So,
bet you tragedy will strike our civilizations for sure.
yeah. So it sounds like you start off in Crusader Kings 3 and then you take the save file and you like run it through like a converter that takes basically what you have done in Crusader Kings 3 and sort of adapts it for whatever the next game is. That sort of sounds like what's going on here. That's awesome. I think that's so cool that people like I'm assuming that's a community developed like converter thing. Which is really really cool. This sounds
Yeah,
so fun.
that's such a cool idea from the modding community. Again, just reminding us how we need to do an episode on mods. We know
Yeah.
it's such a big, it's a lofty topic to say the least.
What I've done that is like a light version of this is like playing a Civilization game. Like I think I don't know how many Civ games you can do this in, but I know in the more recent ones, one of the victory conditions is a science victory, and the way you do that is by building a like a rocket ship that takes your civilization to the stars, and that's sort of the end of civilization once you've left Earth. It's like, great job, you beat the game. But there is also Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, which is like civilization but in space. And so you can kind of, I don't know if there are converters or not for this sort of thing, but you can sort of continue the legacy of your civilization in space. Because I think the rocket ship actually is an Easter egg to Alpha Centauri, because it's like, we're building a rocket ship to Alpha Centauri. So I've done that
Oh,
before, but I don't never in like a converted, like I took my save file and imported it somehow into Alpha Centauri. I just like made a new game in Alpha Centauri, and I was like, this is a continuation of my last campaign. I
I
just said it
played
to myself.
I played Civilization. I love Civilization.
Me
I
too.
actually got Civ 6 recently on a very, very cheap sale, but I didn't buy any of the expansions. So we should play that together sometime if you got
Oh
Civ
yeah,
6, Tyler. That'd be fun.
I do have Civ 6. That game is really, really fun to play on iPad. If
Ooh,
you're looking for games to play on iPad, that is like one of the best.
an iOS game because you are an
Yeah.
iPad gamer. You are the Apple gamer.
I play games on my iPad. I'm always looking for good stuff. I think the hardware is very underutilized for, like, people think, smartphone can't play games. Like both iPhone and iPad, especially iPad, they run the same chips as MacBooks now. The newer iPad Pros, and MacBooks
Dang.
are not no slouches.
Yeah, that's
So
really cool.
this stuff is very very they're very very powerful, and they can play quote unquote real games. There just aren't a ton of them on the platform. But there is a new Ninja Turtles game on Apple Arcade, which reminded me of you, Mike. I haven't played it yet, but it's cool, and
Our
everything on.
Shredder's Revenge times. That was so
Yeah,
fun.
it's not Shredder's Revenge. It's a different kind of game.
Oh,
Um, so anyway, it looks cool. I haven't played it yet, but I downloaded it.
well, I love it. Well, I love that whole idea. I want to play this mega campaign thing. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So we got an email, and we did handhelds and aesthetics of handhelds, and Justin reminded us that we forgot the Neo Geo Pocket, and they sent us a picture of the Neo Geo Pocket, and it was just the subject line, "You forgot the Neo Geo Pocket," but I never used that.
Me
I never
neither.
played, but we could judge it now on its aesthetics while looking at this picture that Justin sent us, right? We could do
Yeah,
that.
sure, sure. Just taking a look at it, judging on how it looks.
It's got this blue camo thing going on, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a special edition or if that's like a normal color for this.
It's got these translucent bluish clear buttons, A and B. I like the shape of it. I like that there's a speaker. It's weird. I mean, there's a speaker on one side, on the left side, and then it's got those six dots where it's like a fake speaker. I don't know if it's just a cosmetic to match it.
Yeah, I
You
don't
know what I
know.
mean? But I would give it just on looks alone. I'm gonna give it a. I mean, it's B plus, borderline A for me.
Wow,
That's kind of how I feel. Are you
I
gonna
gotta
go
go D
less?
tier. I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like it. It's too
Oh
boxy, too
wow.
square. It doesn't look comfortable to hold.
The blue camo is what sells it for me. That's what
Ah,
makes it so high for me because I love
okay.
that. I'm like, if you were in the water and you brought your Geo Pocket, you're gonna lose it because you can't see it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
blue camo. You can't do it.
The screen is a little bit more vertical than horizontal, which is a little strange.
Yeah, it's almost like a phone screen in a way,
Yeah, it
a
might
little
be
bit
a
more.
perfect square, and I'm just so used to screens being wider that makes it look taller than a.
Yeah,
Anyway, I've still never played a Neo Geo Pocket.
I guess you heard it there, Justin. So I say B plus A, but Tyler is putting it in the D tier. Ruthless. I love that.
Yep,
Do you want me to read Alex's email because that one was so short?
sure.
This is chain of memories is the subject line. Hey, Mike and Tyler, it's Alex. Heard you guys talking about Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories in recent pod, and just wanted to say I love that game. Played through like 4 times. Also heard you guys talking about the Series S in a recent pod, as well as a big time PC gamer who still has console friends. It was definitely worth it. It's fast enough that it'll be enjoyable, but not breaking the bank. Just my opinion, though. That's a good opinion, though. I
Yeah,
like it.
I think Series S is pretty cool. I just my the hard time that I have with buying an Xbox right now is what is it going to allow me to do that I can't do on my PC? Like even games, playing with friends. If they're on Xbox, like most of the popular games, you can do that right now. If I want to play Destiny with somebody on Xbox, I can. If I want to play Call of Duty with someone on Xbox, I can. There's just
Yeah,
no need. And I
There's no need.
and for the record, I do think that doesn't mean that I think Xbox is dumb or that like the console shouldn't exist or something like that. What I think that's fine because I'm still buying a lot of my games from Microsoft. I still pay for Game Pass. I think they don't care if I buy an Xbox or not. And that's
Yeah.
fine. Like this isn't like a like pooping on Xbox, right?
Yeah,
On the
we're not
console.
doing that. We're not doing that. But
Yeah.
I do I've thought about getting a Series S because I do have friends that play console only, and I tried to play, I think it was Halo with them on my computer, and they were complaining about how loud my mechanical keyboard was. And I'm like,
Oh.
rude. Okay, one, it's because my microphone's better, than like a
Yeah.
mic on a headset. But I was like, okay, rude. Because I can't play Xbox games with them anymore because they all have Series X's and I have the original launch Xbox One. And
Uh
it's rough. It's pretty rough. So I've thought about it. If Costco has a deal like a Black Friday sale, I might pick one up,
yeah.
because I could maybe get it for like 250 instead of 300 and that would make it worth it. But I agree with you as of right now that for everything I do, I'm certainly not missing it by not having one.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
I have a question for you then. What games are they playing that you cannot currently play with them on your PC?
So Halo Infinite was the big one.
I thought that had crossplay.
It Oh no, sorry. Okay, so the Apex Legends thing, which has crossplay but not cross progression. So I was gonna play with them on Apex Legends on my computer, and because it would perform better. Like I
Yeah.
load in slow on I could play it certainly, but loading in, I load into the game like late
Yeah.
compared to them. It's really weird. But when I put it on my computer, they don't have cross progression, so I lost
Oh,
everything I had earned, and I earned a lot in Apex Legends on Xbox. So I'm trying it again though. I'm downloading it just to see, but
that's a bummer
that's
and
one of them.
feels like a bummer reason to buy a whole console.
Exactly. And Insurgency was another one that we played recently where I loaded in significantly like 2 minutes late. Like the game would start later, I'd be in, and I'd start off dead because my character was just killed immediately. It was just really weird.
Yeah.
So it's I'm noticing it more with the loading screens in these first person shooters we play. But then again, like I'm gonna put Apex Legends back on there because I want my stuff and I'll just load in late. I don't care. It's not worth it enough, like you said, to buy a whole new console. But if it goes on sale, it's gonna be great. And I also am noticing it in apps now too. Like apps kind of freeze up on me and
Yeah.
slow down, like HBO and things like that, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
So but I agree that I think the S is a good idea, especially if you don't have a new console. The S is a great
Yeah.
buy.
I think yeah, bang for buck. Like if you're like, I am either new to games or I'm returning to games, I really want the console experience. I think the Series S is like a really great way to get it because they're like $200, $250. And then
Yeah.
that plus Game Pass, you've got a whole library of games and you've got all those backward compatible 360 and original Xbox games. And then, of course, the Series S will play anything from, the Xbox One and on. It's like an awesome value.
I think the S is actually 300, but if you get it at Costco, it comes with a bunch of extra stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It
yeah,
comes
yeah.
with
It comes
like
with like
a
a game and like maybe a couple months of
mhm,
Game Pass and all that cool
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
But that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great point you brought up there. I agree. I agree that that you need to it's a good buy. It's a good buy. If you're not like me, and I think you too, Tyler, where we both are like, I want the best. I want the highest level. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's it's definitely something worth doing, especially if you have like a kid who wants to play games.
Yeah.
That's probably the best because
That
it
is.
plays like all the kids, like Roblox, Minecraft. You're gonna play those, no sweat.
Yeah,
It's
and
gonna
then
be
you don't
easy.
have to because it's a closed console system, you don't have to worry about, like, you coming in and having to constantly be fixing a computer for them if you don't wanna be doing that.
Yeah, I think even the Xbox Series S comes with like a Fortnite pack. They've planned on this. They know
Yeah,
who their market is
yeah,
with the Series S. It's kids who play Fortnite and Minecraft, and that's where they're gonna go. So
yep.
cool. All right. Well, do you want to read Alexa's email? Because
I
they aren't happy with
I
us.
will
It's
read Alexa's
disappoint
email.
is the
Yeah.
subject.
Subject line, disappoint. Alexa says, "Hi, crew. While I'm very happy you guys did an episode based on a suggestion I made, I need to lament your ratings for two systems." Oh, this is our console tier list. This was the aesthetics tier list?
Alexa was the one that thought of this idea and gave it to us,
Yeah,
which was great.
great idea. So I need to lament your ratings for two systems: the Xbox Series X and the Game Boy Micro. First off, I happen to think the Series X is one of the better designs to come out of the last couple generations. To me, it's sleek, compact, and unassuming. It doesn't stick out like a sore thumb the way the 360 did. It's a lot smaller than you'd expect, too, smaller and lighter than the Xbox One. Since it's so small, I found no issues placing it in any of the entertainment centers I've used since I got it. To me, this bad boy gets an A tier. Almost shed a tear at your guys' D rating. Let's talk about that one first. I guess maybe it's smaller than I think it is. Like, it really
I
feels like
thought
it
it was
doesn't
kind
fit
of
in my.
chonky.
Yeah, it feels chonky to me, and like the verticalness of it. I guess maybe it goes on its side, but I don't think it would fit in any of my. The PlayStation 5 certainly doesn't. I had to like rearrange a whole bunch of stuff.
Is it shorter than the 360 then
It.
when it's vertical?
Oh,
You
I
think?
don't think so. But I guess maybe I've never.
Because I'm looking at my like bookshelf where I keep my consoles in my room right
Xbox.
now,
All right,
and the
Series X
360 has
measurements.
like 360 has like an inch of clearance from the top of it.
All right, let's just look at the measurements here. Okay, so the Xbox 360 has a height of 3.1 inches. This must be when it's on its side. So height of 3.1 inches, width of 12.2, and a depth of 10.6. Okay, so if it
So
were
12.2 is
12.2
the height.
is the height. Um, the Series X is let's see, it's sort of a square 5.9 by 5.9, but it is 11.9 inches high. So, oh, wow, I guess it is shorter than a
It's a little
360.
shorter. So I could fit a Series X in my entertainment center, if you want to call it that. It's a bookshelf. Let's get real.
Yeah, I don't think
But it
it.
would
I
fit.
still don't think it fits. Well, maybe it does.
Again, though, I don't have a 4K TV, so I'm not going to buy one anytime soon. Doesn't seem worth it if I don't have a 4K TV.
Yeah, probably not. I think it still, in general, run better on it though.
Do we take Alexa's rating and do a revision? What do you think of the official stance of this podcast? Because people want to know. I say that completely sarcastically, by the way. No one wants to know. But what do you think?
Well, I will admit that it upon looking at the actual dimensions, it is much smaller than I thought it was. So that is for sure. I still don't really like how it looks.
Yeah, it looks like a building. Like it should be
Yeah,
a model train set building.
it looks bigger than it apparently actually is. So okay, it's like kind of. It seems like it's almost like two Xbox 360s stacked on top of each other, a little bit smaller than that. Is that sounds about right?
So what do we think? B tier, B tier,
I'm not. No,
C
I'm not
tier.
moving it. I still think it looks bad.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
I still think it looks bad.
You and Alexa are now feuding.
We're
This is
fighting
an
now, Alexa.
official. You just took the glove and smacked them in the face with it. That's what you did. Just
Oh,
like an old-timey duel style.
dang. Sorry about that.
And it's weird because I'm torn, because Alexa's a listener and you're my co-host, and I don't know whose side I'm going to be on. Maybe I'm the guy that holds the box of musket pistols, and I just am a neutral
There
party.
you
Who
go.
knows?
Yep. All right.
Although I think it would be duck hunt light guns for the duel.
You're probably right. Should we move on to the next part of Alexa's email?
I suppose,
All
yes.
right.
Yes.
Secondly, the Low Boy Micro. Again, I think it has a really sleek design. It surprisingly felt good to hold, and it had a beautiful crisp screen, a lot better than even the later GBA SP models. I remember playing Doom on that little guy thinking, dang, this is what the future is all about. It also had a cute little blue light when it was charging, and blue is way better than the orange the SP had. Another easy A tier for me. My heart shattered when, again, one of my favorites got a D ranking from y'all. I'm very disappointed with you boys. If this happens again, I will turn this podcast around and go right home. No McDonald's on the way either. At least you
No
guys, no
McDonald's?
McDonald's. At least you guys agree the PSP Go slaps. Game Boy butts, Alexa. Thank you, Alexa. The PSP Go does indeed slap. Game Boy Micro is just too small.
I feel like I'm being blackmailed because of the McDonald's thing. I feel like Alexa's forcing us to change our minds because I like McDonald's. I'm going to be honest. I like McDonald's.
You're going to
Everybody.
change our rating so that you can go to McDonald's?
Exactly.
This is how much your integrity is worth, Mike?
That's my integrity can be purchased by McNuggets is what I'm telling you. I've never had a McRib.
You've never had a... I don't think I've ever had a McRib either.
If you had a McRib, email the podcast. We'll read it not in a mailbag episode. We'll just do a whole McRib episode. This podcast is falling apart.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's really off the rails.
I personally like orange over blue for a charging light.
Agree.
I know it doesn't make sense, but I like the color orange. I've always been a fan.
It feels like there's like a green, orange, red tier for like charging lights, where it's like green means you got full battery, orange means you're either charging Well, usually orange just means you're charging. It's like go slow, and then red is like your battery's low. You want to make it orange. I like that
It's just
system, but
the reason I don't like the Game Boy Micro, and I'm specifically looking at this silver version of it that you see in a lot of the pictures. It looks like a 90s cell phone, and
yeah,
90s cell phones don't look good. That's kind of how I feel. They look old, and it's like trying to be futuristic, but it looks cheap.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I also think it's too small. So and maybe it depends on like how your hand size when you first picked up a Game Boy Micro. Because I think it really feels like it was designed for like smaller hands, like for kids maybe. And in that case, it probably like feels really great to hold. For I wouldn't say I don't have large hands, but like the Game Boy Micro is very small. So it's too
Yeah.
small for even my standard sized hands. I assume I haven't done measurements. I don't know where on the continuum of hand sizes my hands fall. But PSP Go definitely feels too small. Or sorry, not PSP Go. Game Boy Micro feels too small.
This is funny to me because I feel like even though I say these things about the Game Boy Micro, if I saw one at a garage sale, I would buy it immediately
Oh, absolutely. I totally would too.
because I've heard so much about it now, and I do think it's cool that you can play Game Boy Advance games and all these little things. So,
Yeah, they're cool. I might upgrade the Game Boy Micro though.
oh, so who
We
look
can put
whose
that one in the
integrity's
seat. I
changed
know. Well,
now?
yeah, Alexa got me thinking about it, and maybe it does deserve better than a D ranking. So,
Okay, it's the first ever revision, official Codex revision.
yep,
Game Boy is going to be in Game Boy Micro is going to be in the C
yep,
tier.
upgraded from a D tier to C tier. Okay, you
All
did it,
right,
Alexa. You got us to change our minds.
please tell us we can go to McDonald's now.
Please,
Okay.
all I want is Big
I just
Mac.
want a Happy Meal and to tell and someone to tell me they're proud of me. That's all I want. And I want Capri Suns and orange slices. Okay, here we go.
Don't be disappointed.
I started doing that in online games now when I play Valorant or League of Legends. If someone starts talking in all chat about like being bad on my team, they're like, "Hey, I haven't played League in a long time. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be really bad." And I'm like, "Doesn't matter. We're all getting Capri Suns and orange slices after this." That's what I say now. And I've had a couple people respond really positive, and then sometimes it's just like ghosted, like no one talks after.
They're like, oh gosh, who is
They're
this
like,
guy?
this guy's so hokey. Okay. The next email we got is from Mario 500. It's a real quick email. They just said, hello. I just want to let someone know I liked the history discussions in the episode. And they're referring to the Nintendo Before Video Games Part 1 episode. So thank you so much, Mario, for the email. Mario 500, appreciate you for sending us that email. Do you want to read the next
Yeah,
one?
this one is from Jesse. Subject line is Nintendo history. Hey, Mike and Tyler. I recently discovered your podcast a few months ago, and I must say I love it. I've powered through almost every episode already. Bet my coworkers love hearing about the history of video games. And you guys do an amazing job doing an overview of the books that you went through. Your episodes aren't centered on the books are also fantastic, and I love hearing your inputs on the many different game series consoles you have covered. Your most recent episode with Nintendo's non-gaming history was fantastic. Please keep going with the book. I'm absolutely fascinated about Nintendo's history before video games. Also, here's a game for you. You have to pick 3 Zelda games, one to play for life, one you get to play just one more time, and one you must delete from existence. And let's do home console Zelda games only. No handhelds and no CDI games either. That is extra hard mode, I think. That's my commentary on this.
Okay. So now we gotta. So no handheld. So is there a way we can pull up a list of just Zelda console
I think
games?
I can probably rattle them off. If we're going like mostly mainline console games here, we've got Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2 on the NES, Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the 64, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on the GameCube, and then we'll just count Twilight Princess as one game because it was also on the Wii, and then also Skyward Sword, and then Breath of the Wild. Those are the mainline ones. I think there are other ones, but I think for the sake of especially for this one that you must delete from existence because all of those games are fantastic. This makes it more interesting when you have to pick from fantastic games. That's why I'm glad the CDI games
It's
are not allowed because it's easy to just delete one of those from existence in life.
Yeah, it's so easy to just be like, absolutely not. With that said, we should do an episode on the
Oh
CDI
yeah,
games. When I did my Zelda history, I didn't include them, and I feel like I need to go back and I actually kind of want to try to find a way to play them because I think it'd be
yeah.
funny.
I wonder if there must be a CDI emulator, and then you'd have to, of course, legally
There
buy
has
the
to be
game.
legally purchase the
Right,
game as
of
always.
course.
But so I'm in a camp here, Tyler, where my heart tells me, but not my heart, my brain tells me. you should pick Breath of the Wild to play for life
Yeah.
because it's got the most replayability. But my heart says it should be Ocarina of Time to play for life because that's like, to me, when I was a kid, the Zelda game that was like the one that everyone, it
Mhm.
just feels like home, right?
Yep.
That's the one that feels like home.
Yep. Shoot.
But what do you think
Okay.
for play for
So play for
life?
life. Again, I think you're right. I think the obvious answer is Breath of the Wild. There's just so much there. I already put just on my regular playthrough of that game, I put like 75 hours in, right? And that was just me. Like I did
Mhm.
all the shrines, like I did a lot of stuff, but I still felt like there was way more. And like there's just so much that you can mess around with, like the way the physics work and like just setting things. Like there's just a lot of emergent gameplay that happens there. That like once you have, like, once you 2 or 3 years into this is the one you're playing for the rest of your life. You want like that kind of stuff to mess around with, and I think no other Zelda game comes close to that.
The new one's gonna be so
Yeah,
ridiculous with the building stuff. It's gonna be there's gonna be so much weird things that people find out in that game, and I'm so excited
yeah,
for it.
it's gonna be awesome. So I think you got to go with Breath of the Wild for to play for life. Maybe Tears of the Kingdom at the time of this recording. Tears of the Kingdom is not out yet, so
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom comes out this week
yeah,
though,
this
doesn't it?
week. So maybe ask us again in a year, and we'll see how we feel about Tears of the Kingdom.
My pre-order copy should be coming in day of, and
Same.
I'm very excited
I'm
about it.
also excited for it. Okay, one to play just one more time.
So you're going Breath of the Wild as your official play
Yeah,
for life because I was kind of torn between that and Ocarina of Time, and I'm surprised you didn't say Ocarina of
I
Time.
love
But
Ocarina of Time, but I've done it. I've done everything in that game multiple times over. If that's the one I got to play for the rest of my life, there's nothing new there for me.
okay, good point. Yeah, then the smart play. Breath of the Wild play for life for me, I think. But I think we might have a different one for one you get to play one more time.
Yeah, one you get to play
So
one more time. So I guess
what is your one more time game?
this is like it's also delete, not delete from existence, but you get to play one more time because delete from existence
Yeah,
has
just
like
one
further
more time.
connotations. I suppose. I guess how I don't know how metaphysical
Mm-hmm.
we want to get on this, but um, dang, one to play just one more time. I would probably go with like honestly probably the first one because while it was a great game in its time and it's worth playing, it's superseded by every other Zelda game. Like I think the biggest reason if that's your favorite Zelda game, I think for most people who have picked that game as their favorite Zelda game, it's because they played it as a kid and they loved it as a kid, and it just makes them feel that same way that they played it when they were a kid. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I don't think it holds up in that same way today.
Yeah. You know what mine is? It's my favorite. It's Link's Awakening.
That's a Game Boy.
That's my
That's a
favorite.
handheld one.
Oh, but I played the
Oh,
Switch
that's true. That's
version.
true.
Yeah, loophole,
Loophole. Yep.
baby.
Yep. Link's Awakening was great.
Is that allowed? Is it allowed with Jesse? We gotta
I
ask if
think
it's
so.
allowed. We gotta call
It's
in the
on it. I
ref,
think so.
call in the umpire.
Because it's a
Okay,
full on
that
remake. It's not just like because you could virtual console loophole it, right? Like, well, they're all on the 3DS virtual console or whatever, or the Wii virtual,
yeah.
like whatever. But this one got a
I
full
feel like
remake, so I think it
people
counts.
the the one to play one more time is gonna be where I feel like a lot of people have differentiating opinions because you could put Majora's Mask in there, you could put Ocarina of Time in there, you could put so many in that one. But I'm gonna go with Link's Awakening because it's my
Yeah,
favorite.
just one more time though, so you can't play it anymore after you've played it the one more time. I
Is there higher stakes than this? Does this mean like you just can't play the other ones at all?
oh good,
You know what I
that's
mean?
a
Because you have to pick 3.
right.
So does that mean in theory all the other ones would be deleted from
Well,
existence or you just can't
yeah, or you just can't play them. Like delete. What does delete from existence mean? This game never came out, and thus its uh effect on the
we're
industry
Thanosing
was
it,
never.
snapping my
Yeah,
fingers?
was it its effect on the industry? Was that does that mean it never happened? And then we have to speculate on what video games look like without the one we have deleted.
You know what? I've never played Wind Waker though, and I feel like I should put that on here just so I can play the game.
Yeah,
Because in this theory, I might not be able to play at all.
true.
So I think I'm gonna go with Wind Waker for one more
Okay,
time because I've never played
okay.
it.
That way you get to play it. For my one more
Yeah,
time, I will probably go with. Wait, I already said Zelda NES, didn't I? Yeah.
you
Okay.
did say
Yep.
Zelda NES.
I stand by that. I think
Now
it's a good
we
idea,
have
and I
to
stand by it.
we have to delete a video game from existence. Putting on your Infinity Gauntlet, you're snapping your fingers, it's
Which
gone.
home console Zelda game am I getting rid of? 'Cause this is why the home console thing is a really good like rubric because there are plenty of handheld Zelda games that I'd be like, the world isn't different without them, so get rid of it, you know. But when we just look at home console
I
games,
might get rid of Twilight Princess just because of the "Hey You." "Hey You." Wasn't that from the Twilight
no, that
Princess,
was
the
the
fairy?
fairies in
Was it?
is Ocarina of Time,
Or is it was it in what was the one that, doesn't your, companion say that though in Twilight Princess? Am I going
probably.
crazy?
Yeah, but I mean, Navi says it a whole bunch in Ocarina of Time too.
Navi.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's who I'm
yeah,
thinking
that's
of.
Ocarina of Time.
Okay, then I'm wrong. Delete from
Yeah,
existence.
see, that's so hard. I guess I go with Zelda 2.
Maybe this yeah, the Adventures of
Yeah,
Link?
yeah, because, I don't think it had, like, an immeasurable effect on the industry, that said, who knows, right? Obviously, I don't know, but, like, I think the first game, if you delete that from existence, none of the other ones exist, and so you sort of, time paradox yourself if you do that. The second one, I don't think has any really lasting reach. It's a fine game, it's really hard, but it's, like, fine, but if you'd never played it, you're probably okay. Like, Link's Awakening or Link to the Past is just too much of a classic.
Yeah, it's a
Ocarina
heavy
Ocarina's huge. Majora's Mask, I wouldn't delete. I love that game. Wind Wa I like
Majora's Mask is just different. It's so interesting because it just did something totally different, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. It's gameplay-wise, it's, like, very similar, but, like, the story is so dark and good, and I wanna play it again. So it's at least my play one more time, but, um, yeah.
I might stand is it I didn't finish Twilight Princess, so I might be completely off base here, but I never but I didn't it didn't move me like the other ones did.
Oh, Twilight Princess, I don't know how far you got in that, but
I didn't get that. I got like halfway. So if I'm just I don't want to delete it from existence. The correct answer, you're right, is Adventures of Link. That's the correct answer because it won't affect anything else. But I feel like I have to pick something different just for the sake of us being
yeah.
different. So I'm like trying to figure out which one to
Twilight
delete.
Princess
But that's so
is
hard.
one that got me in the feels, man. That scene after you beat, I want to say like the first 3 dungeons or so, and you carry Midna on your back through the rain, like all across Hyrule Field, and they play the song Midna's Lament on like it's gosh, it freaking gets me every time, man. That whole like sequence is probably for me like one of the most emotionally invested I've ever been in a Zelda game.
Oh, see? Gosh, you're getting to you're cutting to the core of me right now, and I forgot. I can't delete it. I want everyone on this podcast to know that I'm taking the easy way out and agreeing with Tyler that Link's adventure is gone. I can't do it. Cuz like Skyward Sword is also great cuz it's like canonically one of the earliest
hmm
ones. So it's still got that kind of history of like what's going on. Yeah, I got to delete Link's adventure.
Yeah.
I got to do
That's
it.
I think that's the correct answer. If I had to pick
Adventures
something
of Link,
other than
not Link's
Link's
adventure.
Adventure, I think I'd do Skyward Sword because I never finished it and it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Adventure of Link, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link is the one we're deleting. I think Skyward Sword would be a good candidate for delete from existence.
Not because it's a bad game. It's just for me it means nothing to me.
Yeah, I also just played the HD remake, so I have a little more in my heart
Mhm.
with it than you probably do. So it's like
Yeah, maybe.
that makes sense. Difficult
Yeah.
question though. Wow, wow. Such a tough question. Good one, Jesse. Good one. Okay, so was it my turn to read this email from
Yes.
Ben? Okay. Answering the call for video game biologist. I love this. This is the subject line of the email. Hi, Mike and Tyler. Ben from Idaho Falls again. My wife and I finished our 50-mile ultra marathon.
Sheesh.
14 hours of running, a little rain, a little hypothermia, and a few episodes of Codex to keep my brain occupied, and we crossed the finish line.
That's
Congratulations. That's
incredible.
amazing. I'm back out training, but this time I have my eye on a 100-mile ultra in 2024. I'm still working my way through episodes. And in 205, you put out a call for a video game biologist to clarify what species Bowser was. While I am not 100% qualified, my PhD is in botany, not video game biology. I dug into the literature on the subject and have an answer. Bowser appears to be a Koopa,
Mm,
which, according to the highly reputable source Wikipedia and Super Mario Wiki, are a group of turtle like creatures. At the very least, though, he is a reptile, which is the class of animals turtles are in. There you have it.
okay.
In other news, I recently beat Valiant Hearts, an Ubisoft Ubi art game about World War One. It had a cool mix of history and impactful story, which was enjoyable. The only downside was some jankiness to it, glitches, annoying puzzles, or repetitive memorize the pattern gameplay. I felt it detracted from the whole experience, and I could only play 40 minutes at a time before I put it down or risk losing the impact of the story. My question to you is, have you played any of these message filled or impactful games? Think Dear Esther, Gone Home, Tacoma, Valiant Hearts. I might even put Firewatch in here, although that story can be a bit crazy. Thoughts on these short experience message walking sim games? Arachnid abdomens, they don't really have butts unless you consider the anus to be a butt, and then arachnid anuses, Ben.
uh,
I love
yeah,
this. Also, ultra marathon. I ran 2 miles yesterday and I felt like I was going to die. So, congrats to the 100-mile or 50-mile ultra
yeah,
marathon.
that's
That's to me.
insane. I've got my eye on a half marathon this summer that I'm training for, but 50 miles seems unfathomable to me right now. That's more than two, or a little less than two full actual marathons, and then 100 miles. That just seems physically impossible.
It does. It seems like it's amazing that a human body can do
Yeah.
that
Wow.
without just failing. It's impressive. So, for impactful games though, I've played Firewatch. I've talked about that on here a bit, but I haven't played these other ones. Have you played these other
I
ones
haven't
listed
played any of
here?
the ones that are listed here. One that sticks out to me that I've played was a long time ago, probably over a decade ago now, I guess. But the Stanley Parable is really good.
Oh yeah.
I highly recommend Stanley Parable. Very funny. It's like a lot of these games are like they hit you hard and they're like make you think and feel feelings, which is great. And I'm glad that they do that. Stanley Parable, I think, hits pretty hard too, but also is just very funny the whole time. Like it's just like got a really wacky sense of humor that I really appreciate. I've also played Journey, which maybe sort of falls on this list. Um, I really love Journey. That's really good. But otherwise, I can't think of any. I'm trying to think of other ones that like off the top of my head that I have played in the that are these like walking simulators. But I don't. They're not
Yeah.
really my genre. Not to say that there's anything wrong with it. It's just I don't get drawn to them.
Yeah, I have a hard time with these two. Ever since I had a hard time with Telltale's Fable, The Wolf Among Us, like I struggle. It's funny because I love a good story, but I struggle with these story games because I personally hate, loathe quick time events. I do not like them. Like it feels like a busy work in a
Yeah,
video game, and a lot of these games kind of use that as a tool, and it's something I avoid. And when you said like the memorization puzzles and memorize like repetitive memorize things, like memorize the pattern, that kind of stuff that just really, if I have to do that one or two times, it bores me to death. Even in games I love, where it's like, why am I solving this puzzle that's not really a puzzle? It just feels like a
yeah,
chore. It gets to me. But I respect the
yeah.
genre at
I
least.
think there are good ones. I'm trying to find a list of them to like see if anything I've like jogs my memory of one I've played, but I haven't really. I have a whole bunch of them.
Would you consider Detroit Become Human in this
No,
list?
I don't think I consider like those Quantic Dream games or like Until Dawn or The Quarry. Like I don't think I consider those quite the same as these like message games. Like those are heavily cutscene and story driven games, but I wouldn't call them walking simulators. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm looking here through my finished list on Steam to see if I have anything remotely like that. And I don't believe I do, unfortunately. There were some, yeah, because I personally, I don't mind these kind of games. They don't really appeal to me as much as other ones
Yeah.
do. But yeah,
You should play the Stanley Parable. I think you would love the Stanley Parable.
I've seen videos of the Stanley Parable and it looks
Yeah.
very funny. And I should just pick it up when it goes on sale because it does look like a fun game. And it's very meta about games in
Yeah.
general. And I think
I
that's
did
very
play the
funny.
first Amnesia game, which some of these walking simulator lists have Amnesia on it. That was pretty scary. That's a spooky game.
Though Amnesia, those all three of those games are on Game
Ooh.
Pass right now, I
I
found. Which makes me think a Halloweeny style episode might be approaching
Maybe.
soon.
I did not find it to be particularly fun, but I know people love those games. I don't really like scary games, so
Tyler gets scared.
yep,
You heard it here first, folks. I'm only saying that because I also
true.
get scared. We both get scared together.
Yep.
That's what we do. Friendship. Pass it on. Well, thank you, Ben. Appreciate it. Also appreciate you doing the deep dive research on the
Yeah.
Koopa reptile mystery we got going on. So, do you want to read Alex's
Yes.
email? Because guess what? It's about Kingdom
Oh
Hearts.
boy.
So I feel like you have to
This
read it.
one's from Alex. The subject is Kingdom Hearts and World Ends With You. In the Kingdom Hearts pod, you mentioned The World Ends With You and how it was a separate game. While you are right, there is a crossover of the characters. I forget the main character's name from The World Ends With You. It's Neku. But several of the characters are in a Kingdom Hearts game. It was the 3DS game, I believe, and it was called Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. I believe it's the first or second world. Anyway, thought you'd find it interesting. I do find it interesting. And when I watched my partner play through Dream Drop Distance and I saw all those World Ends With You characters, I was like, I got to give that game another playthrough. Um, but I haven't played it in a long time. I played The World Ends With You on the original DS. And I was using a backup copy of a game I definitely legally purchased on a like an SD card
Totally.
because I could put all
Mhm.
my games on there that I legally purchased, of course. But I lost that SD card because it was the R4 card I was using was like a spring loaded SD card thing in it, and I launched it out at a park somewhere and never found it again. And so I lost my. I was
Aw.
probably three quarters of the way through the first through the World Ends With You, and I was very sad, and I never played it again after that because I was sad I lost all my progress.
Oh,
So
I'm
yeah, actually,
sorry.
I do have I have a little bit of a fun story about going to try to find this memory card because I lost it at a park. And some of you may be familiar with a person in the retro gaming community named John Riggs. And I used to work with him. This was like probably 13 or 14 years ago. I actually used to work with him. And when he heard that I had lost my SD card, he went with me the next day with a metal detector to try to find it. He was like, this is just a story about how John Riggs is the nicest person in the whole world. He went with me to try to find this with a metal detector. We didn't find it.
Was this in the try?
Yeah, this was in Tri Cities. Yeah, in Washington. And yeah, we didn't find it, which was a bummer. But I will always remember how he like we made a special trip out there, like because we had gone home, and it was like the next day. He's like, "Hey, I got this metal detector. Let's go try to find your memory card." I was like, "Oh, dang, man, super nice guy. Love that guy. Haven't talked to him in a long time,
That's super
but
cool. No, that's great.
but
I
yeah, very
love that.
relevant because if you
I love
listen to
that
our
so much.
podcast, you probably are immersed in the retro gaming community, and John Riggs is a big person in that.
He's the one that does open
That's right.
cart
Yeah, he does
surgery.
open cart surgery.
I love some good open
Yeah.
cart surgery videos. Also, I love a good pun, so that's always fun.
So yeah, yeah, I love The World Ends With You. I want to play it again so I can play the new one.
Well, I can't wait to talk more about our Kingdom Hearts shenanigans after we do when we do the what you been
Yeah.
playing segment. But
Yep.
that'll have to wait because we got another email from
Ooh.
Durin. TMN Team Games is what this one's labeled. It says, "Hey guys, just listened to your latest episode about the selective history of bad video games, and as always, it was a great episode. I have also really been really enjoying your tier lists lately. I'd love a sequel to your Mario characters tier list, which was one of my favorite episodes of yours. And there's so many Nintendo characters out there. Good to know. We'll think about that for sure. Back to the point. I actually just finished playing through TMNT Shredder's Revenge with my best friend, and we had an absolute blast. I'm sure a history of Ninja Turtle games is on your list of episodes, but in the meantime, who is your favorite turtle? Keep up the great work. Spider Butts,
Oh
Durin."
man, I we played through Shredder's Revenge. That was super fun.
We did.
It's like the perfect length of a game. It's on Game Pass. Super great.
It really was. I my favorite turtle. So when I was a kid, my favorite turtle was Michelangelo because I was naive and a child.
And he's I was just gonna say Michelangelo's a party dude.
He's a party dude, but my favorite turtle now is easily
Yeah.
Donatello.
Is he the most I don't really know much about the turtles.
Mostly because he's got the bow
Oh.
staff, so he can he's got
Yeah.
good reach, Donatello. And I believe he's also the science guy.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And I love I love a good science guy. So he's like he's the yeah, he's the smartest and often the gentlest of his brothers is what the Wikipedia page says for
Okay.
Donatello. But I liked Michelangelo as a kid. It changed Donatello as an adult. If you like Raphael, you might be a monster, is all I'm saying.
What's wrong with Raphael?
He's just so mean and so
Oh,
angry all the time. Maybe he's
maybe.
misunderstood. Maybe
I
I
don't
don't
know.
get it.
I watched a lot of Ninja Turtles as a kid. I played Ninja Turtles games, but I honestly am very unfamiliar with the differences between the turtles and the turtle lore.
Dude, okay. So like Leonardo is like the leader with the two swords kind of. He's like the head leader guy. Donatello is like the scientist and Michelangelo's the party dude. and Raphael has serious anger issues and needs to go to
Okay.
a therapist, is what's happening. And that's pretty much the TLDR of the Ninja Turtles. And if you want to defend Raphael, please send us an email with the subject line "in defense of Raphael," and I will read it on this podcast and I will have rebuttals. Okay. This is a strong, I'm taking a strong stance on this.
I love it.
Okay, but I also love them because I had a lot of experience with the Ninja Turtles as a kid because I had the action figures, which were some of the best action figures, the Ninja Turtle ones. They're so good. They had like the turtle van that they would all be in. Oh, so much fun stuff. A lot of pizza, spring-loaded pizza shooting devices, like little plastic
So much
pizzas.
fun.
Very fun. So, are you going to pick a favorite turtle or not
I
really?
gotta go with Michelangelo because he's a party dude, but honestly, that's all I know is that Michelangelo is a party
That's
dude.
and
Yep.
nunchucks. Michelangelo is the one that made nunchucks popular in popular culture.
I think you're probably there's probably something to this like changing your preference. I bet as a kid, Michelangelo, obviously he's the party dude. He's like irresponsible. Like we love him as a kid, but as we grow up and realize that he's a burden and a liability, probably then you start to gravitate towards the more responsible turtles.
Mhm. Yeah, I think so too. I also liked Michelangelo as a kid because they would call him
Ah,
Mikey, and that's what people would call me. So it was like
yeah.
very much an identify. And I was also a party dude, but I have grown up to be a
Uh,
party, a responsible scientist dude. That's not true at all. I don't know. But yeah, thank you for the email, Dorian. We appreciate it. Do you want to read Will's email?
Yeah. Will, subject is video games and rock music. Will says, "Good afternoon, Mike and Tyler. Hope all is well with you too. I saw your call to arms for a mailbag episode, and it coincided nicely with a connection I made. I was reading an article on the history of rock and roll. I've been curious about how it went from predominantly black musicians to white ones. And it talked about how in the United States in the late 50s, early 60s, rock music all but disappeared for a time. Elvis went to the army, and several other prominent musicians died, and rock looked like it would be a passing fad. That doesn't mean that there weren't any rock bands in America, just that its status was greatly diminished. However, it incubated in the UK, as we all know, and eventually came over to the US during the so called British invasion. There would still be popular American rock acts, but in the 60s and early 70s, the genre was dominated by large British acts. I thought it was interesting because this sort of thing basically happened in America as well with the famous video game crash of 1983. Briefly, video games seemed like a passing fad here too. You still had some arcades and people playing computer games, but that wasn't what it had been in the late 70s, early 80s. However, Japan came in with their own invasion, and for a time, and really still today, the market was dominated by Japanese companies like Nintendo, Sega, and Sony. I have no question here, just thought the parallel was interesting. Thanks for putting up with my long emails, Will from Texas. That is a great connection to be made, Will.
Yeah, I think it's great. That's wonderful. It's a little history fact. I feel like we have a
Yeah,
field
yeah,
reporter in
and
Will. Right?
oftentimes when you hear about like cultural exchange, it's often America like foisting their culture on other places, and you sort of see how Western culture like moves into other areas. But this is an interesting sort of reversal in at least in the video game world, where it was like basically all of the good games were made by Japanese developers, or at least for a time there was certainly a large influx of Japanese games coming in, which is still true today, like you said. But like back then, like Japan really is the one that like revitalized video games, right? Because they were dead.
They were, yeah. I mean, Atari, yeah, was here and then died kind of
Hmm.
in the crash, and
Yep.
then Nintendo, Sega,
Yeah.
Sony. That's great. That's a very good like parallel
Hmm.
thought there. Catch. Good stuff. Thank you, Will. It was good. Okay, here comes this new his email is from Christopher. The subject line is short time listener, first time caller. Hey, Mike and Tyler, Christopher here. C. Felton, for those in the Discord. Just wanted to thank you all for the genuinely laid back and informative content. After a 4 year gaming drought, I rekindled my love affair with retro gaming when I modded my 3DS XL in February for my
Yeah.
birthday. Carrying around the libraries of Genesis, SNES, GBA, and DS, as well as 3DS games in my pocket, just blows my inner child's mind. Long story short, only 3 months later, I've been playing a ton of games, listened to basically the whole podcast, joined the Discord server, and was even inspired to start one of my own so my close friends and I that live around the country can stay in touch and set up weekly gaming sessions.
Yeah.
It's great. I love that. Hearing the way that you both keep up with friends and continue to share meaningful experiences together while in different locations is something that has been missing for me for a while. So thank you for playing a part in me reconnecting with my love of games as well as as kindling that in my friends and helping to inspire new connections between people I've known for 2 decades. That's so nice. That's amazing. I love that. So, on to a discussion. Have either of you ever parlayed an interest discovered in a game into an analog hobby? I'll explain. My partner and I have been tendering our own plot in a community garden where we live. I have enjoyed it, but it wasn't until playing Stardew for the first time that I really got into it. We even both in the running for farm apprenticeships this year. Oh, wow, that's great. The Stardew to Farm Life pipeline is real, people. We didn't end up getting them, but we'll be doubling down our efforts in our garden plots in an attempt to eat well, care for our soil, and attract as many native species as possible. Long story long, thanks for the podcast and community you have built seemingly out of sheer camaraderie and interest. Spider butts and a round of skooma, Christopher.
That's
I
so
love
nice.
that.
Thank you, Christopher.
That is so nice. Also, that's so funny that they mentioned that because I was driving to a comedy gig last night and it was bad. I told you about it, Tyler, but it was not a good it was a rough gig. And but it was kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I drove past someone's farm and I saw they had their farm with like their goats on it, and the plot of land next to their farm was like full of big rocks and stumps and trees. And I said out loud to no one in my car, "Oh, it's like the beginning of Stardew," and I just kept driving. So the fact that Christopher just sent us this email, it's so true. I think that's the best, and I completely agree with you, Christopher, that the parlaying interest of video games like to real life hobbies is a real thing. I've had it happen with fishing
Mm,
before in my life. And recently also with Stardew with me, I'm growing blueberries now because of Stardew Valley and asparagus. So it's real. It's a real thing.
nice. I have three things to point here. One of which is very direct. I got into skateboarding because of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, for sure. I don't really skateboard anymore, although I did get one for Christmas. I push around on it sometimes, but when I was like 10 or 12 years old, I skateboarded a lot, almost entirely because of Tony Hawk. The other thing that I have is, oh, this is not like exactly the same, but in my I've grown to enjoy a lot of esports stuff, especially like League of Legends and stuff. And I've never been a sports person before, but getting into esports for games has made me sort of appreciate more traditional sports as well. Like I've been watching a lot of hockey, mostly because Seattle has a hockey team now, and they're doing really well.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's a game tonight actually that the series is tied. I'm super excited to watch. So I like I wouldn't say that I've become a sports person, but I get it now. I understand it better. Like before, I would be like, well, I don't know why anybody cares about sports. Like who cares? But getting introduced to it through video games, like sort of like the opposite way that most people do, probably, right? Where there'll be a sports fan and then like get into esports with that knowledge. So there's that. And then the last thing is I don't have a direct like Stardew to farm life pipeline story, but I do have a little garden that I sort of keep care of every so often. Sometimes I'm better at it than others, but I think a lot of the interest in like growing my own vegetables has come from playing games like RuneScape, where I really loved the idea of mining the ore for something, smelting it into metal, and then making a weapon that or item or something that you're now using to do other stuff. Like the just whole like pulled the whole thing out of the ground. Basically, fantasy really spoke to me in that game. I haven't been able to rekindle that in other games like Minecraft or anything like that. I think maybe that's just it was just the time that I was playing RuneScape. But like, I think there's something about that. Like, I planted a seed, grew a plant, and then the fruit. Like, I made food with it, and like kept myself alive with this thing that I did. I think there's something like it sort of scratches the same itch, and I probably found out about that itch from playing RuneScape. So those are my three examples.
Gosh, I love that too. I love the farming in RuneScape was, I feel like, a lot of people's first experience with at least our
Yeah.
age of you're leveling up a skill and you're making something out of
Yeah.
nothing seemingly. It's just
Yeah,
like
and there are
fun.
tons of games that do that now, probably way better than RuneScape ever did. But and I've never really been able to recapture that feeling. But I really loved that feeling of like I mined the ore, I smelted the metal, and then I smithed the weapon, and now I'm using it to fight stuff, and it's like it's a good weapon, you know. And there's something to that in more modern MMOs too, where some of the better gear you can get is actually crafted gear, which I think is really cool.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, the other only thing I wish in video games they would tell you is how much harder weeding is
Yeah.
in real life than in video games, because I hate that chore. That's my least favorite chore in the world, and oh boy, it's rough. I have to go do that
Ugh.
later too. So I actually have a cousin who is a real life farmer in
Mhm.
North Carolina, and I often want to ask him if he's played Stardew Valley, but I'm just worried he's going to call me a nerd because I don't think he plays video games.
Yeah, I have a lot of farming in my family too. My grandpa was a wheat farmer in Washington.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah, in Washington. Wait, yeah, that's great. That's great. All right, we got two more emails left. Do you want to read
I
James's email? James from Denver. It's Final Fantasy 14
yeah,
related. This
I
is
would
your
love to.
email, I feel like. It's got you written all
So
over
this
it.
is from James from Denver. The subject is Final Fantasy 14 and beyond. Hello, Mike and Tyler. James from Denver here again. Tyler, glad to hear you're back into Final Fantasy 14. Would love to run something with you sometime. I main Dark Knight, but I can fill as needed in DPS or healer as well. I haven't been doing the higher end content such as extreme raids or savage content. I still like doing dungeons. As a huge fan of Final Fantasy 4, Endwalker's storyline and the callbacks to FF4 were great for me. I hope you enjoyed the expansion as well as the patch content as much as I did. I also wanted to say that I have really enjoyed not only catching up on any episode I missed, even the episodes I skipped, I have gone back to and listened to, but listening to new episodes. I really personally enjoyed hearing the story of Nintendo before they made games, and I hope you continue that series. Your podcast also has me going back and playing the Bioshock series, one that I have tried in the past to play and simply missed. I'm enjoying it so far and look forward to finishing it up. After catching up, I noticed an episode that I somehow missed and wanted to call back to. You even said in the episode you wanted to hear from somebody, even if it was at a later date. In your Lost Games episode on Star Tropics, you asked if anyone beat it without save states and without calling the Nintendo helpline. I am proud to inform you that I did, and while I figured out the map puzzle, yeah, that is incredible.
Wow.
I figured out the map puzzle. It took me almost 6 months as a kid to figure out that those were music scales that needed to be played on the piano. Star Tropics was one of the first, quote, hard games I beat as a kid, and I was so proud I took a photo and sent it into Nintendo Power, thinking I was the first person ever to beat it, as I had never seen anyone submit a finished score to their magazine. I was never published. Keep up the good work. I look forward to even more great episodes from you, James from Denver. Thanks, James. I am excited to be in Final Fantasy 14 again as well. I'm playing it on my own right now to get through the story content because I really want to pay a close attention to it. And I have found that if I'm playing a game like, well, hanging out on Discord or something, then I pay less attention to the story. And I really wanted to take in the story for Final Fantasy 14. So I'm just treating it like a single player RPG for now. But I am excited to get to like raid content. Someday I want to do the savage and extreme content, but that stuff is so hard and you need like a consistent party because it's so difficult. You can't really do it with randos. Um, but yeah, that's awesome. And awesome that you beat Star Tropics. Just wow.
Yeah. Here's my offer, James. Okay. I'm sorry that Nintendo Power didn't publish your picture. If you still have that photo and you take a photo of it on your cell phone and email it to us, I will put it on the Codex website.
Oh,
I will
wow.
do that for you. I will put it up there. I will publish it so someone does because
Hmm.
that's an accomplishment. Okay, it's not. There's no way I'd be able to beat that game without save states. There's no way. Or a guide. I realized that when I played Tunic. I am so bad at these video game puzzles. Like I just am not paying attention. They're rough for me. I will put it on the Codex website, James, if you send us your picture, if you still have it. If not, maybe I'll just put some text that says James from Denver beat Star Tropics with no save states, and it'll be a big deal to me and Tyler and everyone. All right, we got one more email here. It's really short. It's just an idea from Jack. Jack's the subject line is Mortal Kombat Junior. Hey guys, me Jack here. I have played Mortal Kombat alongside my friend a lot, and we just tried 11, but it's pretty bloody, isn't it? Well, this morning I thought about a kid's game, Mortal Kombat Junior. It has Spider Man, chibi characters of Sub Zero and Scorpion, the Pillsbury Doughboy. He is the only one who has body fluids. So now kids can play Spider Butts,
I love
Jack.
it.
What other characters would be in this, you think? I think all the cereal mascots. You got to have Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we got to have the Lucky Charms Leprechaun. We need Tony the Tiger. Yeah, this is like cereal box mascots for sure.
This is also like infinite levels of product placement
Oh yeah.
for companies because you could
Yep.
put like Mr. Clean as a character in there. You could put the Jolly Green
Put all
Giant
the
as a
McDonald's,
character
like
in
the
there.
Hamburglar and all those characters, just bring them back, put them in this game for sure.
Do you know they're bringing that back in marketing now? They're bringing back the Hamburglar.
I saw the Hamburglar. Yeah.
'Cause I heard, the actor from Succession that plays Logan Roy has a ad on podcasts where he says "Robble robble," and it made me laugh so hard in my car. I hadn't laughed at an advertisement in so long, and it was great. But yeah, that's a great idea, Jack. I think there's so many things you could do with this. I think Mortal Kombat Junior and the fact that it's called Mortal Kombat Junior is also funny, and that whole mood of that would really make the game great if they openly joked about how
Yeah.
it was a kid's version of Mortal Kombat.
Kind of sounds like Multiverses a little bit.
It does, and that game. That's the one that got
It
shut
didn't.
down
Well, yeah,
recently,
they
wasn't it?
took it down because apparently it was in beta up until they took it down. They're like, okay, we'll bring it back out next summer or something. I kind of thought it was one of those beta air quotes. This game's actually out. We just hide behind beta so that when something goes wrong, we can say, well, it's a beta.
But now it's like
They
not coming out again.
Oh, they shut it down
Apparently,
completely?
is what I've heard. That's what I heard. Maybe I'm going crazy about it, but
Multiverses. No, I was so successful, I thought. It still says 2024 on
I thought
the full
multiverses.
launch of the game is scheduled for early 2024, according to Wikipedia. So they just took it down. It was
Okay.
just so weird that they took it down because it had been out for like over a year in beta form. So it was like, okay, this game's just out, and then one day they'll say it's not a beta.
Oh,
But then they took it down like for an extended period of time. They're like, we're taking it down for like 6 months. Oh, okay.
alrighty. Well, hopefully it comes back out. And I mean, I was kind of like they went all in with like fighting game stuff. I think they
Yeah.
were at Evo one year too, so it was going to be
I
really like a
think
big deal.
this is actually, from a marketing perspective, probably a really good call because lots of times these games like get big right around their launch when there's a lot of hype and then they sort of peter out a little bit. And I think this game probably was petering out a little bit from its beta. So they were like, let's take it back in, let's work on it, make it better, whatever. Not run it for 6 months, and then we can put it out again and have another launch event, right? Where we get everybody comes back to it
Oh yeah,
for this like launch event, which I think is actually pretty smart.
Adventure Time. This is crazy. Adventure Time, DC Universe, Game of Thrones, Gremlins, Iron Giant, Looney Tunes, Rick and Morty, Scooby Doo, Space Jam. LeBron James is in it. Steven Universe and Tom and
Wow.
Jerry. I love this. This is so great. What a cool idea. I'm just pumped that Scooby Doo is getting
Yeah.
some love in a video game. Okay, that's what I care about. But alrighty, so that's the emails for the day. Tyler, what you been playing?
I've been playing Final Fantasy 14, and I've been playing Kingdom Hearts with you on Discord mostly.
That's right.
I just stream to you,
That's
and
right.
we have a lot of fun goofing on Kingdom Hearts. Still working our way through it. We just finished Neverland, so we're done with the Disney worlds for now, or at least much of the
Mm,
storyline stuff. There's a few other worlds we're gonna go to, and we're gonna get all that sweet Kingdom Hearts lore.
that's right. And how the Keyblade is all about how much heart you have.
Yep.
That's what I learned last night. And that also apparently if you're an evil character, you get a sweet Halloween costume with fake muscles when you have the Keyblade.
Talking about Riku's like
It was
muscle
so
suit.
silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous outfit. I loved it. It was so silly. That game, it's just the perfect thing. I'll keep saying I'll say it over and over again. You like get locked into these cutscenes and then you forget that Donald and Goofy are there, and it makes me laugh every time, every single time. I love it so much, but it's been really fun. I'm also counting this on my Trello board that I've played it
Oh, good.
because I'm playing through.
Yeah.
I feel like I could put it on my Trello board as like this is
Yeah,
something
I
I
think so.
experienced in. I might even make
Oh, okay.
a watched category of
Yeah, you could
games.
just make it a label. Just you drop a watch label on there.
A label that says watched. Yeah, a watched label, but I love it.
Yeah. What have you been playing, Mike?
Well, it's been kind of a topsy turvy week. I've been all over the place. I've been playing some Advanced Wars Reboot Camp, and I'm really enjoying that still. But now I'm realizing with Tears of the Kingdom coming out, I'm going to have four Switch games that I never finished one of them. I'm going to have Metroid, Pokemon, Advanced Wars, and then Tears of the Kingdom. And I feel like Tears of the Kingdom is going to take priority because that's just
Yeah, I think you're right.
a game that's going to suck me in. But I've also been playing, and I just tried it today, Age of Empires 2 on console. And they do a really good job with the controls. It's really fun and it works. And it's mind blowing to me that it works. I've only done the tutorial missions, like the William Wallace stuff,
Mhm.
but it's got that same Age of Empires flair. Like I really think I'm gonna leave it downloaded on my original Xbox One. That's also another thing about it too, is it can play on my original Xbox One, no problem, which is why I'm playing it.
Yeah.
and it's just fun to hop into a little campaign, play a map. It takes like 15 to 20 minutes, and then you just move on. It's great, and I'm loving it. And it's another Game Pass game
Yeah,
that I've been
that's awesome.
really into. Kind of dropped out of Divinity Original Sin a little bit, not really paying attention as much anymore to that. And I'm just really loving Kingdom Hearts time. That's my favorite. That's my favorite times this week, Tyler, is when we get to play Kingdom Hearts together and watch it, and it's so silly. And then watch you try to beat the Olympus challenges.
Oh yeah, they're pretty tough. We're playing it on proud mode, so it's tough. It's a hard game.
No jokes here. Usually we talk about playing on easy mode these games, but for Kingdom Hearts, Tyler has a mission to beat it on proud mode. And you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah. I've never done it on proud mode before. Yeah.
It's going great. So also Captain Hook's a pushover, apparently.
He is a huge pushover. That was a really easy fight. You know who's not a pushover? Maleficent. We got stuck on that one. We got to go do some level grinding.
Gotta do some level grinding, hang out. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. But that's pretty much it for the episode today. It's been kind of a long one, but we're all caught up on emails, which is great. As always, if you want to send us an email, you can do that at codexhistorypodcast@gmail.com. You can go to codexpodcast.net for all your other needs. You can add us on Discord through there. You can find us on Twitter, find our Trello boards. And with that, that's it for the day. You want to say bye to everybody, Tyler?
Goodbye, everybody.